Hi everyone, this is my presentation on disaster management in New Zealand. First, I'm going to give you a quick intro to myself. My name is Alejandra Caraballo. I'm currently a senior, and my major is ISS with a concentration in public administration and economics. I'm going to start off by giving you a quick history into how civil defense was initially created in New Zealand. At first, emergencies were handled by locals with no set policies or rules. Then the threat of war in New Zealand led to the creation of the Emergency Precaution Scheme in 1930. Then a very terrible earthquake by the name of Hawke's Bay hit New Zealand and resulted in a shift from fear of war to fear of natural disasters. In 1942, the Emergency Precaution Scheme changed their name to Civil Defense. And in the 1950s, the public believed that civil defense needed to be higher in priority, so they decided to change some regulations and change the name, and then the Ministry of Civil Defense was created. In 1983, the National Civil Defense Schools opened to train staff and volunteers on how to efficiently respond to disasters. And in 1999, the Ministry of Civil Defense and Emergency Management is created, which is what is still being used today. Disaster management in New Zealand uses the bottom-up approach, which means that the local level is the first to respond and will only request help to higher levels if needed. Participants include both government and non-government organizations. Obstacles include, there can be a language barrier with such a diverse culture because of all the different languages, and this can affect the communication during a disaster, and communication is very important. Many disasters did influence the way disaster management is held, and for example, the Wahine hurricane initially led to the creation of disaster management because the fear wasn't of war anymore, it was instead of disasters like that hurricane that occurred. In New Zealand, disaster hazards include earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, tsunamis, landslides, and much more. Due to the diverse physical geography of the country, it's prone to all these different kinds of disasters depending on where you are. As you can see in the picture, there's different types of lands and mountain ranges, and the country itself is islands, and all that just adds to more risk. Significant natural hazards that occurred in New Zealand include the Hawke's Bay earthquake of 1931, in which over 500 lives were lost and it also left thousands of people injured. And the 1968 cyclone by the name of Giselle was terrible, and it caused a ferry by the name of Wahine to sink in the ocean, and because of that, 51 lives were lost. It was one of the worst storms ever recorded in New Zealand. These are just a few of the disasters that led for disaster management to become an issue of importance in New Zealand. And thank you, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.